Hello everyone, welcome back to Dakota's Political Circle, and sorry guys about me not posting videos for the last few days. There has been stuff out, I just have been really busy with my personal life, so I haven't been able to post about it. So now I'm posting about who Harris chose as her VP pick. So Harris decided to choose Tim Walz as her running mate, which is very surprising because I was expecting her to possibly choose Josh Shapiro or even maybe Mark Kelly as like a dark horse, I guess you could say. But the reason I'm surprised is because the one that had the most room to grow and the one that could easily have got her Pennsylvania would have been Josh Shapiro. With Tim Walz, you don't really get that much. I mean, Tim Walz is kind of a moderate in some aspects, but at the same time, he is a very left-leaning individual, and I'll actually show you what I mean exactly through my tabs. But first, Tim Walz, in my opinion, is a pick you really shouldn't choose unless I guess you want some of the moderate vote, but you're really not going to get much. He's not really an enthusiastic candidate, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think Tim Walz is a candidate you just choose because you don't want either side to hate you. So I think she just went the middle ground, because if she chose Josh Shapiro, she would have probably got a lot of, she would have lost a lot of the Palestinian vote. But at the same time, she would have probably won Pennsylvania. So I think it was kind of dumb of her to not choose Josh Shapiro. So her choosing Tim Walz is a good thing for Republicans, because I don't see him as having that much room to grow, in my opinion. I don't see him as a likable guy either. I don't see him as a bad guy, but I don't see him as a likable guy. So I just think him as like a in the middle pick, kind of like how Hillary Clinton chose who she did, the guy from Virginia. And he wasn't really enthusiastic either. He was just like a very average pick, in my opinion. And that's how I kind of feel about Tim Walz. And there isn't really much to say about him, which I will talk about some of the things that are really weird about him. But the only things that he's ever done really good, from what I have known, is specifically he got free lunches for schools in his state. And I believe that's about it. Other than that, he really hasn't done much to be a good person per se. He technically was in the military, but I don't agree with him being in the military. I've looked it up. He's not very he wasn't like on the front lines per se. He was more of like a person that was there and like kind of in a way like stolen valor, I guess you could say. Like in a way, he didn't really do anything to be there, and he just more or less was there just to basically say he was in the military. That's how I feel about how Tim Walz was. He wasn't in a position where he could see the front lines, he could see battle. He was mainly just kind of like a desk jockey, I guess you could say, for military and for a military, I guess. And then there's J.D. Vance, who was actually in the military and actually did stuff like that. But obviously, people like to make fun of J.D. Vance and say stupid stuff about him. And in my opinion, J.D. Vance is a very iffy character. But at least in a military perspective, J.D. Vance is actually respectable and not Tim Walz. But I will show you the top 5 things that are weird with him. And there are definitely some weird things in here. And I'll also show you some things that are very left-leaning in his policies and stuff like that. So, yeah, obviously, if you don't know what this means, so a lot of people on social media, for some odd reason, have been using the term weird to refer to J.D. Vance, because of all the things he says, which, in my opinion, I do think he does say some really weird things at times, and they're absurd, and they make Trump look bad, and I don't know why he says them, but he does. I believe one of the things J.D. Vance said, I believe he compared slavery to abortion, and it really doesn't make sense whatsoever. Even if he was trying to denounce abortion in some way in that aspect, it just sounded kind of weird, the way you would say it. But anyway, that's what the weird thing is going viral about, because of J.D. Vance just saying some weird things. But yeah, so here's some of the stuff Walz has said. So he said, socialism equals neighborliness. When many people think of socialism, they think of forced retribution of the wealth. However, Walz recently painted socialism in a positive light by associating it with neighborliness. Don't ever shy away from progressive values. On a White Dudes for Harris call last week, one person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. So he basically called socialism neighborly. So he's definitely a big supporter of socialism. So that's obviously a big thing right there. He I wouldn't say he's moderate, but maybe at a governor standpoint, but in a national standpoint, he sounds very left leaning. And then he also say a 30-foot ladder factory. Walz's immigration views have focused from critics, including moves to grant driver's license to illegal immigrants and to support for sanctuary policies. So he wants to give driver's licenses to illegal immigrants, and his support for sanctuary policies. He supports sanctuary cities and such, which is kind of expected by a Democrat standpoint. He talks but Walz raises eyebrows by suggesting that should Trump attempt to build another wall. He talks about his wall. I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 20 feet, 25 feet, then I'll invest in a 30-foot ladder. That's how you stop this. So basically, he's going against even the Biden policy to a certain extent, that walls don't work, so let's just give the illegals a ladder to climb over because they deserve to be here. But at the same time, there has literally been so many illegal border crossings in the Biden administration, and even when Biden kind of took Trump's policy and kind of put it into fruition in a way, Walz is basically saying he wants to do the exact opposite of what Trump wants to do. So, and also, obviously, Trump calls Kamala the border Caesar, and with Walz saying that, it really shows that this stance is still going to be sticking, and it's going to be having a lot of illegal immigration again if you get the Harris Walz ticket. And then also this one's kind of stupid because everyone talks about it all the time. So he said, "Get off the couch." So Walz appeared to dip his toe in the water of the false claims about J.D. Vance, and I can't wait to debate this guy. That's if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. See what I did there? So if you don't know the couch thing, so a lot of people think J.D. Vance did something sexual with a couch. I believe it was in college. I can't remember exactly, but a lot of people said something about that, and it's blatantly false because there's no true statement with it. It's just a rumor, and for some odd reason, Walz wants to bring up that. And if he brought up that at a debate, that's just the weirdest thing to bring up because you're supposed to be talking about policy. You're supposed to be talking about things that actually matter, not talking about, oh, well, you might have done this to a couch. Like, who cares? As long as you get stuff done in the country, do we really care if he did that? And honestly, he probably didn't. If you did do that, then you're just freaking weird. But if there's no true statement to it, then he probably didn't. But the false narrative is really bringing down J.D. Vance's favorability, and also the things he says. Like, the things he says really brings it down. I'm not a hater of J.D. Vance, but I do think he doesn't need to talk as much as he does because he acts like he's the front runner for 2028, but he's not. But with Walz, I do think him saying stuff like this will bring down his favorables because he shouldn't be saying stuff like that. He should be more respectable if he really wants to win over a lot of Democrats that are trying to be a little bit more independent, I guess you could say, or the independents that lean Democrat. And then, the false rumor was that he claimed in his book Hillbilly Elegy to have had sex with the couch. So he claimed it, but it's been repeatedly debunked. So it's basically a false claim. And then the Chinese luxury. No matter how long I live, I will never be treated that well again. They gave me more gifts than I could bring home. It was an excellent experience. So he's basically praising China, and if he gets in office, probably him and Harris are going to be both praising China in that way. So basically, this guy is a very left-leaning individual, and you can really tell based on his stances. And I believe he's trying to win over more progressives because of that, but at the same time, him saying that stuff is really going to hurt the independents because a lot of independents are going for Trump right now. So let me show you this. So this is one of the things J.D. Vance has said. So this is from one of my posts. But so a lot of people are saying he's coming for your. So it's a lot of people saying he's coming for your guns, but someone was making fun of it. That was a Democrat, and he does use guns. Yes, Tim Walz is a avid shooter, but at the same time, I've even looked it up. He does support an assault weapons ban. Walz has said he has donated $18,000 he's received in donations from the NRA to a charity that helps families of troops who are killed and injured while serving, but he also came out in favor of an assault weapons ban. So in a way, he is a good person, but at the same time, based on policy, he does support an assault weapons ban, which is a very bad thing to do. So honestly, even though he does support guns, like normal guns, he hates assault weapons just like some Democrats do. So this is one of the bad things about him. And then another thing I've found, I have a video of it. So Tim Walz openly supports fourth graders changing their genders and boys using the girls' bathroom, which is disgusting, but I will show the video. And it should have volume. You'll know in a second when you hear it. So let me start it.
This issue, again, is one of those that gets politically charged, and I would ask all of us, and I try and do this, for my own sanity, and I try and do it because I think it's the right thing to do, putting ourselves literally in the other people's shoes and wondering why they're doing what they're going to do. And when I think through this, when I say this as a teacher, there's about 150,000 of our children identified in our schools, in our public schools, trans students. And as a teacher, my number one responsibility in the classroom was the safety, security, and belongingness of every single child in that classroom. And if this topic, for those who have concern, and I will not minimize people's concerns who are concerned that this is going to make an unsafe situation, whatever, I ask you that in many cases, these are children my son's age, a fourth grader, a 10-year-old, who just wants to go to the bathroom, and their identity is they are male or female, and they just go in that bathroom and use it.
So yeah, it is really disgusting that he supports something like that. He supported changing genders, but he also supported boys being in girls' bathrooms that they identify as. So he does support that stance, and a lot of people are trying to debunk that, but he literally specifically said it. So there's nothing you can say that he didn't say. So he does support that stance, which is truly disgusting. He also supports, obviously, athletes, transgender athletes competing in girls' sports as well, which the majority of Democrats do, which is very odd because that is a specific stance that should not be considered because when you see that happen, no matter what, the boys always win against the girls in that scenario. So it just shows that basically that the Democrats really support the abuse of women in sports, which is just pretty sad. But I also want to show you this just before I stop talking about Tim Walz. I did want to show you what the election looks like as of right now. Yes, Harris does lead in the aggregate now. She officially leads, but remember, her honeymoon phase is actually starting to come to an end, so her surge is going to be coming down. I also saw a poll today, which is not on here, but I did see a poll today that came out, and it was a Harris plus 5. I'm not sure if the former poll is on here. If it is, I will show it, but I don't think it's actually on here right now. No, I don't think it is. I don't see it anywhere. But it was a Harris. It was a Harris plus 5 before, and now it is a Harris plus 1. So Harris is starting to decline in popularity and also decline in the aggregate. So I do think Trump will be jumping her or going up higher. So Harris may have a 1-point lead, but not go any higher than that. I think she's declining now, and then when the debates do officially happen, Harris will end up losing the support, just like I expected. Now, I didn't expect her to go this high in that amount of time, but you never know how far the ceiling can go. But it does look like it's coming to an end finally. But yeah, the most recent polls are showing a Trump plus 2 and a Trump plus 5. And if that one is a Harris plus 1 and it was a Harris plus 5, I do think she is officially losing momentum in the polling. But yeah, Harris did pick Tim Walz. I think it is a horrible pick for her, but it is a great pick for Republicans because they can trash everything they support. And Tim Walz isn't going to win her any specific state because Tim Walz is from Minnesota. He could win Minnesota's support. You won't get Minnesota as a toss-up state, I guess. But we weren't really pushing for Minnesota, I guess you could say, under Harris when she started running. And also, sorry guys, I am a little bit sick today, so that's why I sound like that. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just want to talk about who Harris picked as her VP. And I will have also a video out the next day because I have been a little bit backed up. And I will be talking about how Harris chose to debate Trump and Trump chose to debate Harris. And they officially have a debate together. But I will also be talking about what Trump wanted and what she wanted specifically. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I believe we have 432 subscribers now, which is really awesome. Or it was 36. But that's really awesome. I can't wait to hit the 500 mark. I'll definitely make a video for it. I'm just really happy for this channel. It's just really awesome to talk to you guys, see the comments and everything like that. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.